Well, Daryl, you know what? You guys are claiming that we're in a spinning ball, and extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof.
I could now tell you the calculations I made. Hopefully, I did justice to them because, like Sean, math isn't really my strong suit. No, 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 no.
Yeah,
My
yeah, yeah, yeah,
facts
yeah,
are
yeah.
correct. They're precise. They're on the ball.
Your evidence is not a photograph. Your evidence is a CGI manipulation.
Hello, you all. My name is Darryl E Berry Jr. I'm an author, a teacher. I founded Next Density Center, and over the last few years, I've been doing some research and an investigation into the people who believe the earth is flat. Yes, there are people on the earth today who believe it's flat, or who believe it's convex, or who believe it's concave, who deny that the earth is a globe. And you may wonder, how can people today, when we send satellites into outer space, uh, when we put people into outer space, how can people actually believe this? And in speaking with them, in reading their writings and watching their videos, and debating them and facilitating debates with them, I've distilled several, uh, shall we say, principles that support or facilitate uh, this belief. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share what these five principles are, as well as give direct uh, experiences and interactions that I've had or facilitated with these people to demonstrate where and how and why I see these principles as applicable, as vital to the globe denier position, whether it's flat Earth, concave Earth, convex Earth, or just stationary Earth. I hope you enjoy. I've distilled five basic principles or characteristics that are integral or vital to the globe denier position, whether flat Earth, stationary Earth, concave Earth, convex Earth. And these are basic definitions that you can find from your average dictionary. For instance, you can go to dictionary.com and look up these words. The first is simply basic stupidity. Some of these people are apparently just stupid. Stupid is defined as basically lacking ordinary quickness and keenness of mind, dull, characterized by or proceeding from mental dullness, foolish, senseless, for instance, a stupid question. There's also ignorance. They simply don't know, lacking in knowledge or training, unlearned, uninformed, unaware. There's denial, refusal to recognize or acknowledge, a disowning or disavow. They simply don't want to know. Delusion, to mislead the mind or judgment of, to deceive. His conceit deluded him into believing he was important. They simply believe something that's not true because that's what they want to believe. Whether they make it up themselves or they simply believe what someone else made up. And lastly, laziness. Just laziness. Averse or disinclined to work, activity, or exertion. Indolent. They simply don't want to put in the time, don't want to put in the effort to actually learn what it takes or to be able to operate the machinery sufficiently, for instance, a telescope, to be able to acquire and validate, to acquire the necessary information or data, and to validate the necessary data and experiences, to have the truth. They're simply lazy. So I found that one or some combination of these has fit into every single flat earther, round globe denier, stationary earther, concave earther, convex earther. Every single one so far has had one or multiple of these characteristics. And in the process of this documentary, I'll go through some of the interactions that I've had and show so you can see for yourself why and how I see these characteristics, these principles as being applicable to these people in their positions. Let's get started. Speaking with a flat earth believer calling himself Earth is seriously flat. Take a look and listen. And your position is you're asking why can't you circumnavigate the globe on the north to south axis? Is that correct? Earth is seriously flat?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome.
So, Daryl, how can you help us do this as a family here? Because
I will
we,
leave that
you
up to you,
know,
sir. I'll leave it. Why don't you look into it and let us know what you come up with?
no, we've been looking into it. What do you suggest, Daryl? I know you're a smart
Then I
guy.
doubt that you've really looked into it
Don't you think that
deeply
will be a
enough. So why don't you
powerful
do more
tool
looking
to
and let
help
us know?
flat earthers say, "Oh, wow, no, it's not flat"? A definite
What
way.
have you done to really investigate and see?
Well, I call around. I go, "Hey, can you take me north to south?" Just call around a travel agency.
So
People
you
that
called around
flies.
to some travel agencies?
Travel agency. I talked to many pilots on the internet.
Okay, so one of the travel agencies, what did they say specifically?
They don't do that. They don't have that. They won't do it,
Hmm.
and it's never been
Hmm.
done.
Okay, so if that's good enough for you, then that's fine for you. We could agree to disagree.
But you need to agree because it's true. How can you disagree to
Hmm.
that fact? Have you ever tried?
Well, I guess I apologize. I guess I'm not making it clear. It sounds like you're saying that you called a travel agency and they said they don't do that, so you concluded that they're blocking people from going. But that's kind of like if I was to call Pizza Hut and was like, "Hey, Pizza Hut, make me a hamburger," and they're like, "Well, we don't do that. We're Pizza Hut," and you're like, "Oh, they're blocking me from getting a hamburger. Oh my gosh, that makes no sense to me." So, so if that's enough for you, then I'm going to stop wasting my time having
Well, you
senseless
think I'm
arguments with
asking
flat Earth
something that is
believers.
not on the menu?
But
They're
that's a
flying.
good
Yeah,
analogy.
exactly.
That's a
So,
good
But
analogy. I like it.
but I'm not
yeah. So,
asking them, but they're cooking. That's the specialty. I
yeah.
mean, it's not
Then if
outrageous
that's
to
good
say,
enough for you,
hey,
sir, if that's good
that's
enough for
what
you, then I'm fine. We can go to a different subject. I'm not going to continue to
okay.
waste my time talking about.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
Eh,
All I'm
that should be
saying
clear enough
is,
to anybody. If that's not clear enough to you, then I'm fine with just agreeing to disagree. So here's an example of one or more of the principles of the flat Earth or the globe denial. So we have a person who says that the moment he said he looked into trying to go to Antarctica or circumnavigate the globe or whatever it was, I knew he didn't really look into it because it doesn't take long to look online and see that there are expeditions to Antarctica and so on and so forth. And there are lines of work that circumnavigate the globe north to south. There are satellites that circumnavigate the globe north to south. So obviously, once he said he looked into it and it didn't work out, obviously we're looking at laziness. At the least, we're obviously looking at laziness. At the least, we're looking at someone who uh, uh, simply is not taking the time and putting forth the effort to really look into it to justify their beliefs, or someone who's just stupid. Stupidity could explain it, or just denial. You're so lazy they won't actually take the time to find a travel agency or find a pilot that actually does it or what have you to take that trip. Or he's just too stupid to realize you can make another call or maybe try to find just because they're a travel agency doesn't mean they go everywhere. Like too stupid to understand that there's actually different travel agencies that do different things that go different places. So if the travel agency he calls says they don't do that, they don't have that, they won't do that, they've never done that, then maybe there's a travel agency that does, or it's just the denial. Wants to believe in flat Earth, doesn't want to accept anything to the contrary, so simply denies the possibility that any travel agency can do it. So only looks just enough to satisfy that denial and delude himself into believing he actually did something uh, when he didn't. So right there we have laziness, delusion, denial, and stupidity. What happened there can fit into one or perhaps all of these scenarios or these principles of the flat Earth. Let's keep going. So this is continued in the same RTS number 30, where Earth is seriously flat, and I talk about photos of the Earth from space.
Well, when you have a body of water, the 70% of the body is water. I mean, our body, this blue marble that we call blue marble, is supposed to be 70% water, and water is usually flat. So I call it flat.
I don't mind playing along with that. May I play along with that, Jose, and see what he says with my
The
evidence
floor
that I
is yours,
present?
guys. Yeah, the floor is yours.
Okay, one moment here. Just give me a moment to pull up some evidence on that, and I'm
Oh,
interested in seeing what you say.
you proven that the water is flat, right? You agree with me, right?
Oh, no. I mean, it's clear to me that it's curved, and I'll show you some evidence of it. And I'm interested in hearing your take on here. What do you think about this evidence that water is clearly curved? So just give me a moment. I'll pull up this evidence and
Yeah.
see what you have to say
Earth
about
is
it.
seriously flat.
Big bodies
Daryl,
of
hold on,
water.
Earth. Daryl is like a down to earth and mellow guy. So try not to interrupt. You both gonna have chance to speak back and forth. So try not to interrupt from one side or another. So floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. So I'm going to present my screen here and show some images. Give me one moment here. Go into the Hangout, present, and present a window, and boom, boom. So that should be showing momentarily.
Yeah, you're up.
Awesome. So this is an example. Now, if you look at this image, this is taken by the Himawari satellite. You can see the blueness, so you can see that looks like Australia right there. That's land. And to the left of that, the blue is water. And if you can see there, it's curved because it's on the globe and the globe is curved. So right there is direct observation, evidence, picture, photograph that the water curves around the globe right there. And of course, direct evidence that the Earth is a globe. So there you go. Now you have the proof that the Earth is a globe and that water can curve around the ball. Any questions?
Okay, Earth, you gonna rebuttal that?
Well, it's a beautiful blue marble, and that's what we're trying to find out. One of the things, for example, if it's a perfect sphere, then you could test out on Google Maps, right?
So this is what I noticed flat earthers do. You make up things for the globe position and then try to argue what you just made up. So really you're just arguing with yourself. I've never heard a scientist say the Earth is a perfect sphere. I've never heard that. I've heard an oblate spheroid.
So oblate spheroid. So it's supposed to be, if you're trying to go around the Antarctica down there, or you're trying to go on the North Pole, it's supposed to be a bigger perimeter as if you try to measure the distances from the bottom or the top of the blue marble. You're supposed to have a bigger distances, right? Measurable distances, right?
My understanding is simply that the center of the Earth bulges slightly. That's my understanding, and it makes sense because it's spinning. There's a little bit of a centrifugal force there. So my understanding that it simply bulges a bit in the center. It's not a perfect sphere.
Yes, that's due to that centrifugal force shape. It has to be measurable, right?
Is the centrifugal force measurable?
No, what I'm saying is that if the centrifugal force that shaped the blue marble, that is not a perfect sphere, is supposed to be measurable on the top of the North Pole and on the bottom of the South Pole, we could get the Google app and search the perimeters, the distances on the top or the bottom. Let's say you want to go around Antarctica and you
Hmm.
measure this tool with the Google tools and you're going to measure going around the Antarctica. If you try to do the same thing in the north, you're not going to be able to have as many miles as you measure on the bottom as you measure on the top, right?
So you're saying that if I go around Antarctica, it will be a different distance if I go around the same latitude, but on a northern hemisphere of the planet. Is that what you're
Correct.
saying?
Yes, sir. Have you ever tried that?
I don't know. I don't see why that would be the case. But it seems like it'll be even. I haven't looked into that
It's
specifically.
supposed to be even or uneven?
My
Because I
understanding
tried
is the
it.
Earth is not
I
even.
tried that. If I tried to do that, and it it doesn't let you really measure the tops or the bottoms. Google.
What?
Yeah, try it. Try to go around Antarctica, measure
Are you
you
just talking about the
measure
Google
distance.
tool itself isn't letting you do it because
Yeah,
it
the
won't let
Google,
you
yeah,
go
your
to the
tools that
full
you
screen?
use to prove that we live on a ball. Yeah, those measurements that we use.
No, that's not what we use to prove a ball. That's the model to show you it. But
So
Right.
this is what I noticed. This is what I noticed. I presented a photograph from the Himawari from a satellite that's orbiting the Earth as evidence that water curves. You're not talking about that at all. Now you're talking about Google Maps or something, and can you
No,
measure
no,
it
no,
on
no. I'm
Google
just
Maps?
giving you.
I don't
Okay, I'm
understand. Why
just
don't
giving
you
you.
address the evidence I presented?
Your evidence is not a photograph. Your evidence is a CGI manipulation or to put together with
really,
this.
Okay,
Yes, it's
okay, but
data that they put together in a computer here on Earth. It's not an actual
okay,
photograph that you click and you develop. That's a photograph. This is
okay.
a
So what's
CGI
your
manipulation.
evidence for that or proof of that?
The proof of that when you read about how the Himawari 8 receives data radio signals and then they transfer it in a computer here on Earth. That's how it is. It
Okay,
has nothing to
where's your
do
link?
with
Where's
you
your
taking a
reference of that?
camera up there and you read everything about that. The Himawari is all over there, right there in front of you. But
So what you're
that's not
saying
an
does not
actual
match what I
photograph.
read.
We don't have look, brother. We don't have an actual photograph right now in 2019
So
of
one
of this
moment. You made
blue
a claim.
mythical blue marble.
One moment. You made a claim, but now you're elaborating on the claim, but you still never presented the evidence. So that doesn't do, sir. So you asked me for evidence. I presented the evidence
But
for the
your
claim I
evidence,
made.
you using the wrong terms, brother. Your evidence is something that was
Wait. Just give
developed
us
in a
the link
computer.
of what you
It's
read.
like if I give you an evidence of King Kong. I show you a picture of King Kong. That's my evidence that King Kong is alive.
If
Or
I may,
Sasquatch.
I have a
Certainly.
question that might unlock the situation. Do you consider the pictures that you take with your iPhones, for example, is that a photograph or not? Because
No, that's actually just a picture. That's picture, an actual photograph with a real photograph that you develop they cannot be manipulated. For
okay,
me, that's a real photograph.
so this is the point of contention. So as soon as it is not an analog thing that you can develop later, it's not a photograph in your eyes.
Oh,
If it's
let's say
only a picture, you can
if I send
manipulate it,
if I
and
send you a
therefore it's not a
picture right
photograph.
now, if I send you a picture of me right now, it's gonna go through the internet, and you could tell me, oh, it's a JPEG, it's a GFI, whatever
Agreed?
format it is. All right, I can send you a picture, but that's an actual photograph. It's a different thing. For example, they're always claiming, oh, we took a photograph from 1972 of the blue marble. It's a photograph. There was no CGI. Or, for example, if we give the ISS astronauts to take one of our cameras with a linear lens, right, instead of a fisheye lens that you guys have to have, we just want to have a different technology working out there.
Let me jump in for
So
one
what we
second.
have here is a very clear demonstration of one or more of the qualities, the principles of flat earth belief, of a flat earth position. So you notice that I presented evidence, a picture taken from a satellite orbiting the Earth, as evidence that water can curve around a ball, as they say. You notice the first thing he did was deny the evidence, was avoid. The first thing he did was start talking about uh, Google Maps and saying that that's how we prove there's a globe. So neither me nor anyone else said that we use Google Maps to prove there's a globe. Actually presented an image from the Himawari. But he totally avoided that image and denied addressing it, denied the image altogether, and he will further deny it moving on. But even initially, he just avoided it and went to his own delusions that we use Google Maps to prove the Earth is a globe and that he can't measure the circumference around a certain latitude on Google Maps. It could be just stupidity. It could be just stupidity as well. And then when I push him and don't let him get past acknowledging the image that I put forth, then he goes on to say that it's CGI manipulation. If you scroll back and listen to what he says, that's specifically what he says. He says it's CGI manipulation. And I asked him to present proof of that, and he cannot. He later went to talking about how it's not really a picture like a what do you call those kind of cameras that they took pictures with, where it spit out the little film. The word will come to me in a bit. But then he wants to talk saying how it's not an actual one of those photographs where you have a flash and you have a print, something you print out that is not real. When the fact is, like you're looking at a video of me right now on this video. It's digitized and sent through the internet, but that's still an accurate representation of what I look like. So to say that because that's digitally, the data from that picture is made into a digital stream and sent to the earth and then put into a form you can recognize, that doesn't in any way say that it's fake or false. That's simply denial. And so we have the first denial of saying it's CGI manipulation, and the delusion of saying that we believe the Earth is a globe because Google Maps tells us, and then further denial, simply denying the fact that whether I take a picture with a digital camera or a digital camcorder or a Polaroid, that's the word I was looking for, or whatever, if the image accurately matches the reality, then it's an accurate picture, just like this picture of the globe. But again, it's something that further believers, they'll look into the actual method of taking a picture and use that to fuel or support their denial of the facts. So they can dismiss any evidence that doesn't match what they want to believe and hold on to their ignorant belief. Ignorance, simply not knowing, apparently because of denial. So it seems that denial can seem like stupidity or ignorance, or stupidity and ignorance can seem like or manifest as denial. Let's keep going. This next clip comes from a debate between Sean Hawkins and SE Montreal, a stationary Earth Montreal. And basically it's about the skydive of this man named Baumgartner, who skydived from, it seems, as high as anyone has ever skydived before. And SE Montreal says that skydive proves the Earth is flat because it'll be impossible on the globe. And he has the calculations to prove that it'll be impossible on the globe. So let's take a look at the evidence and calculations he presents to support his claim.
I could now tell you the calculations I made. Hopefully I did justice to them. Because like Sean, math isn't really my strong suit.
Okay.
So, the capsule took off from the Roswell International Air Center on October 14, 2012. The coordinates are 33 degrees, 24, 22 north, 104, 4306 west.
Hold up, that was 32 degrees, and what else?
33 degrees, 24 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and 22 seconds north.
Okay.
104 degrees, 43 minutes, 6 seconds west.
Okay.
So, this is what I came up with. So, the Earth is rotating at the equator at 1,037 miles an hour, or 1,670 kilometers. But Roswell is not located at the equator, so the rotation is different. I looked that up,
Okay.
and I came up with 872.5 miles an hour. At that location is the spin of the Earth.
And I was at the drop location.
No, this was at the where they ascended,
Okay, I got you.
liftoff. Okay, so they were in the air. The capsule was in the air approximately 3 hours. Him and the capsule. So if you do a simple math, at 872.5 miles an hour, he should have landed 2,617.5 miles away. That's not including his horizontal speed, wind, anything. I'm just going by the rotation of the Earth. So he should have landed 2,617.5 miles away from his original ascent location. And he didn't land anywhere as far as that. So that's basically it.
So here we have an awesome demonstration of globe denier principles at work. And I say globe denier with him because he doesn't claim to be a flat earther, but a stationary earther. And you'll find that globe denial takes many flavors today. There's flat earthers, of course, and there's stationary earthers who claim to not know exactly how the earth is shaped, but that it is stationary. And there's convex earthers and there's convex earthers, but you'll find that the same principles relate to them all. One or several of stupidity, ignorance, denial, delusion, or laziness. So one thing that of interest that we find with this globe denier is he starts off by saying that math is not his strong suit. So math is not his strong suit, yet he proceeds to try to calculate to disprove a bunch of people whose strong suit is math. That's just stupid. It's just stupid to have math is not your strong suit, but I'm going to go ahead and calculate better than these people who does have math as their strong suit. It also shows ignorance, ignorance of inertia, ignorance of conservation of momentum, ignorance of so many aspects of the forces and characteristics of their free fall that he simply doesn't take into account. When I asked him to later in this debate to explain these different, I questioned him on these different intricacies. He has no answers. He has no answers to them, and he basically avoids the question or deems the question unnecessary or what have you. Delusion. The delusion of thinking that Matt not being his strong suit, he can somehow calculate in such a simple and infantile fashion better what would happen in this skydive than people who was their profession, who went to school for years if not decades, higher education to perfect their calculations of this stuff. In one of our talks, he let us know that he's actually a dropout from school. He didn't even finish high school, and maybe even less than high school. Well, he's a dropout, and math is not his strong suit. but he claims to be able to calculate and understand this stuff better than PhDs and all of these types of people who know the Earth is a globe and calculate these things to a T where they should land, and like where rockets should land when they come out of orbit and things. We'll also find, as we look into more of his proofs and evidence and so forth, that is also laziness. I've observed that he simply doesn't want to put forth the effort to do certain things to be able to come to valid conclusions. And you'll find that this is the way it is with several flat believers. They don't want to take the time to learn all the different, all the nuances of physics that go into these things. He just came with a very and simplistic is to say simplistic is an insult to the word simple. So something can be simple but still be accurate. It's a very either stupid or ignorant or lazy calculation where he just took the lateral movement of a person at that location due to the spin of the Earth, multiplied it times 3 since the capsule or the skydiver was in the air for 3 hours, and then that's how far to the side he should have been. Just and denial could be included in that as well, to deny the true intricacy and elegance that is true math and science, and to believe that just this juvenile calculation somehow disproves the globe. It's all of these things shown here. One or more of these, in my observation, fits the bill of what we've seen here.
It doesn't work.
No.
Yeah.
My facts are correct. They're precise. They're on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you guys aren't smart enough to understand that, maybe you need more education, Darryl.
Okay.
Let me point out something. When I point out the inaccuracies of what you say it's just a general calculation. And then when you're talking shit, you say it's precise calculations. Which one is it? Is it precise calculations or is it some general thing? Which one is it? You said both now.
It's what I did. Anybody could understand my simple explanation. Yeah, you're going to nitpick again.
So it's nitpicking. What you say is so whenever we point out something wrong, whenever we point out a contradiction,
whether it's precise or not, it can have a difference of 2,400 miles. Whether I'm off by a degree or not doesn't matter. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. Open your eyes. Open your eyes, man.
I think I've demonstrated my point well enough. I mean, we've been demonstrated it well enough. If you watch this debate, you'll see that in the debate, at various times, he might say that his calculations are general when you point out the inaccuracies. But other times, to defend or promote his position, he says they're accurate and precise, as he said just here. So I addressed that. And notice for one, he did not answer the question. He did not want to address the question, denial, delusion. When I'm putting to the fore his own denial and delusion, and he's denying and deluding, he's denying that and deluding himself about that. And notice the other thing he says. He suggests that we need more education. When I have more education than him because he dropped out of school. I graduated high school and I have some college. He dropped out of school. And it's clear to anybody who understands this stuff, even to a basic degree, that his calculations are just stupid or ignorant or just lazy or some combination of those. And he's saying we need more education to understand it. Delusion and denial and stupidity and ignorance, one or some combination of these on full display. This is part 1 of 5 Principles of Flat Earth and Other Globe Deniers, a documentary by Darryl E Berry Jr. I'm not sure how many parts there will be in total, but I will go through all of the interactions I've had to date with globe deniers. You can see future installments at my YouTube channel, on my website, as well as other online venues. Look forward to the next installment coming soon.